Good evening, everybody. I hope you had an excellent day. You enjoyed everything you did, I hope. There we go. It's been a good day on our part. We've been rather busy, but we are grateful to have something to do. So, this is the final session of the Decode the Market series, and we're saying from insight to advantage. We do this every Tuesday, 7 p.m. East African time, 6 p.m. with South African time, 5 p.m. West African time, and 4 p.m. that should be GMT. Okay. So this month we've been talking about how to decode the market so that then we're talking to the right people. And it's been an interesting series. Today we're winding up. But I can see, thank you, enjoying the cool weather. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how has your how have you been the last week? We have not met. And did something stand out for you on a scale of, actually, no, let's do on a scale of 1 to 5. How has your last week, how's your week been? And did something stand out for you? I'm looking at the comment section and the chat section for some input. How has your week been? Scale of 1 to 5. Just give me a number. 1 is it was okay. 5 means it was fabulous. Excellent. I see a 5 in the chat. All right. Anybody else who would like to give? Mine has been a strong 4.5. Excellent. It's been a 4. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Anyone else? Anyone else? On a scale of 1 to 5, how has your week been? 4. Excellent. What would you change if you could change something? What would you do differently? What would you do differently? And this is more like a reflection point. In this space, we say, let's always have a pen and a paper with us. So make a jot and note of what you would do differently. We are definitely going to be looking at that. And so when I say my week was good on a scale of 1 to 5, for me, that meant that I was able to get to the places I was hoping to get to, accomplish the things I was hoping to accomplish. One of the things that's really helping me to be effective right now is okay, where is it? There we go. That's really helping me to be effective right now is I got somebody to help me plan my life. I am very organized, but I also sometimes overcommit. So, as we are sitting in this space as AMC, because we intend to help SMEs grow, lead boldly, and scale sustainably, we also need to demonstrate that kind of behavior. So, that's what we were doing. And for me, this year, my target is to enable me to do more effectively. And so, the big change that makes my week 4.5 and 5 every week nowadays is having somebody who asks me, did you reach your tasks for the day? That's been very interesting. Anyway, today we're here to talk about competition, and competition is not your enemy. When we said want to understand competition, that's the topic for today. We did it because we understand that many of us think that competition is our enemy, and it is not. Absolutely not. The enemy of all our lives is really confusion. And sometimes when you put things like that up, guys look at you badly. It's simply that we need to understand how it works. So our conversation today is competition is not your enemy. All right. Why does this matter? This matters because many times founders, and in the space of founders, if you work in corporate and you're a leader, we operate in reactive mode. We are waiting for things to happen, or when things happen, we react. For instance, competitors launch a new product, we panic. They have a new offer, we're holding our heads. They adjust their pricing, we are almost screaming from the rooftops. They are more visible, they have more traction. We feel like we're in a pressure keg. And what that does for us, it makes us vulnerable to jump around. What does that mean? Pressure leads us to panic decisions, actually maybe panic attacks and poor sleep. We undercut pricing even when it doesn't make sense for us. Pressure leads us to make decisions that could and maybe many times actually do affect our businesses. Sorry, I need to charge a device. And we start copying people. So then we're messaging like so and so, creating content like so and so, behaving like so and so in ways that really do not assist our brand. So in tight markets, such emotional moves are costly because you're moving at the behest of somebody else. And the real risk is not competition. The real risk is building without clarity, because you could be building based on what other people are doing, not necessarily what you need to do. So that is why it matters, because remember we said we don't want to lead from panic. We want to lead from a settled place. We want to be making the right decisions for our brands and moving from that place. So let's do a small reflection. Does competition drive or inform you? Okay. So how do you understand whether competition drives or inform you? This is what I need you to ask yourself. When you see your competitor growing, what is your first response? So just in the comment section, in the chat, just put the letter. So when you see a competitor growing, what is your first response? A, you feel pressure, so you quickly adjust. Okay. B, you compare yourself and you feel left behind. C, you study what they're doing strategically. D, you're cool. You're clear that what you're doing, you're good enough and it doesn't shake you. I'll repeat the question. When you see a competitor growing, what is your first reaction? First reaction is what we're looking at. A, you feel pressure to adjust something, you compare yourself. That's B, you compare yourself and feel behind. C, you study them strategically. And D, you're okay, you're cool. So I can see one person says, improve on staying calm when my routines are disrupted. Oh, that's what helped you this week. So when your competitor, you see your competitor doing well, the response I see there is C. So C is I study them, what they're doing strategically. Excellent. There's another response, which is B, I compare myself and feel left behind. Excellent. Why is this important? C, excellent. So we've got two C's and a B. If there's anybody else who wants to contribute to the question, feel free to contribute. So when you see a competitor growing, what is your first response? One, pressure. A is pressure. B is comparison. C is you study them. D is like, I'm cool. I'm absolutely cool. Why is this important? Because this will help us in our conversation going forward. So whichever answer you give, keep that pegged and continue from there. All right. So competition is usually defined as businesses offering similar products or similar services to the same market. Whereas that definition is correct, it is incomplete because it frames competition as opposition, and opposition creates fear. Now, we've framed it as competition as opposition for so long that it doesn't quite change how we think. Let me explain that. The start or the first thing you think about competition is opposition. That's what I mean. That's really how we framed it. Could it be that we could frame it differently and say that it is the presence of alternative solutions? So competition is the presence of alternative solutions serving the same problem within a shared market. Remember, we exist to solve problems. That's why we are saying presence of alternative solutions serving the same problem within a shared market. Let me use a chemist for an example, or a pharmaceutical provider. There is a medication we all know as celestamine, right? It is an antihistamine. But there are now variants. Once its patent ran out a few years ago, now there are generics. There is Celestine, there's this. And you see, Celestamine, Claritin, they're not the same, all right? So for each of these brands now, as patents run out, then you have the entrance of generic options. Generic options can be cheaper or can come in and maintain market price, though maybe their production cost is lower. So it is an alternative, okay? Let's think about a market. We have Marikiti as our major market, which is also called Wakulima market. But on the other side of town, we have Kawangware Market, we have Wangige Market, we have major markets around. So it is, all those markets are alternatives to each other. I could choose to come to Marikiti because maybe there's something I want that is cheaper. I used to drive to Wangige for a long time to shop just because even as it was so far, and then those days the fuel cost was lower, the cost of food was so cheap that it made up for the increased fuel. What do I do now? I have a guy who shops for me, who brings to my house. That's even cheaper because in the individual price of products, I know he's put a small markup or a markup to get it here, and he's covered his transport costs. So for me, it works. That is an alternative to me having to go to the market. So that's why you say competition is the presence of alternative solutions that answer the same problem that you solve. Now, that shift allows you to then understand that your customers, your clients have options. They do have options. They can go where they want. So then looking at your competition means if it represents an alternative solution, then it becomes evidence of demand, a mirror for positioning, a benchmark for value, and a source of market intelligence. Now, that simple shift takes out a lot of the fear and moves us from rivalry to research. When you understand it like that, you realize you can learn a lot from your competition as opposed to just trying to take them out. So let's dive deep. The real risk we have is an unclear positioning of our products, undifferentiated messaging. We sound like everybody else. Reactive strategies. We look for what people are doing either to counter them, or emotional comparison. It could be that they have a similar solution, but it also could be that your service is exceptional. I'll give an example. There's a cyber when I need things printed, bulky documents printed and bound. I've been using this cyber for what, maybe a year. And the reason I went to her initially was cost. But I have stayed because of quality of service. All right. So here I am. We've been emailing back and forth. I call her. I send her what I need printed on WhatsApp. She prints and gets it sent to me, or I send somebody to pick. So yesterday I was in town and we needed some printing done. I was like, okay, I'm here. Let me go. So I went, and the minute she said hello, I knew it's her. So she was being very nice and gracious, like looking at me like she knows me. Then she saw my message on WhatsApp when I sent in what I needed to print. She's like, see, I'm so and so. I said, I recognized your voice as soon as I sat down. Why do I go to her? Please note, in my hood, there are 5 cybers. But when I need bulk printing, number one, I will send it to her. Number one, because of cost. Number two, because of quality of work. I don't have to wonder how it will come back. So yesterday I'm doing some bulk printing, and then I have cover pages, and I've just want to do everything in black and white. When she looked at how much we were printing, she's like, she gave me all covers in color. In their building, there are several cybers. I have never known them. There are 5 cybers in my hood. I go to somebody who is very far. So what I have gone to find from her is a very specific service that only she offers and my hood doesn't offer. Okay? So competition exposes clarity gaps. It doesn't create them. When somebody comes in and how they're doing things and how they're dealing with your customers, it exposes a gap. So if we're being emotional, then when we're shown to be unclear, it feels like they're threatening us. But when we're being steady and clear, competition now becomes a source of information. They become a data point. Look at the beverage companies. We have them ranked in tiers, even water. One company produces 2 brands of water priced at 2 different levels because there is a perception about one of the brands they acquired and now bottle that it is a higher quality brand. So unless you look finely on the label, you will not even realize that those 2 brands belong to the same beverage company. But then even when you look at the market, the beverage brands are ranked differently. Same yesterday, I was on the lower end of town sending some parcels, and I was thirsty, and I was making tea bags laugh when I gave the guy 100 shillings for a small bottle of soda and a bottle of water, and I got change. I was like, yeah. Uptown, I got 20 shillings change from 100 bob. Uptown, I don't even think there'll be change on those two things because one will probably be 30 and the other one will be like 65. So your change is like 5 bob, right? So I was like, I got a whole 20 shillings change. First of all, I haven't had a coin in a while. And what I realized is down there, the pricing is different because the supply is also different. So whereas I could think, but these guys are in competition with the supermarkets, not very far from there, there's a supermarket. But who are they serving? This particular shop is selling beverages to the vendors who sell to the buses and matatus that are down that end. The ladies who usually come vending for us when I used to go to Nanyuki in the Nanyuki matatus, they're the ones who are buying there. In fact, I met two of them at that shop. Why was I sent there? I wanted a bag to put the package. The package I was sending was in a bag, and I wanted another bag to encase it. And the guy says, just crossed over there. There are two shops side by side selling bags, but he sent me to one over the other. So then I go to the other and I'm like, do you have a bag this size? And they're like, no, and they're unmoved. So right there, I can look at their two shops doing similar things, but this one has better service, this one has more stock. So it is a point of information. When we look at our competition as a point of information, then what happens is we are able to be less emotive and more practical. All right. So now the value of our competition changes because instead of asking ourselves, how do we beat them? We ask ourselves, what is the market teaching me? What is the market saying? For instance, we had a hospital open in the hood, and they came in with a consultation price at 1,000. Within 6 months, they had to bring it down to about 700 because people would come and ask, how much is consultation? 1,000. Yeah, we go home or we go to the other one. And then we all moved when service was better until it was no longer better. So we moved back. All right. So we have to understand that when people set up, we need to set up to either meet a different side of the same need or meet the same need better. So instead of asking how to beat your competition, the question we need to ask is, what's the market teaching me? What are the interactions of my competitors with my audience or my market teaching me? When you're able to do that, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. All right. When we're able to do that, again, it reframes us from looking at our competition emotionally to looking at them with clarity and confidence as a data source. All right. If you're with me, let me see a YY in the comment section so that I don't leave you behind, because this is a slight shift. We want to jump into 4 things we need to track on our competition. Excellent. Good to see you with me. So there are 3 or 4 things. I think I picked up 4 things that competition does for us. Number 1, competition confirms demand. Number 1, it confirms demand. If there are multiple businesses solving the same problem, then number 1, the problem is real. Number 2, the customers are paying. Number 3, opportunity exists. No competition in your sector is not always a good thing. Sometimes it means there is no urgency to pay for the service you're offering or the product you're selling. I'll give an example. Sometimes when we go to innovation challenges, we find that there is a problem that someone has identified and it sounds like a really cool problem. They develop a solution, they go to market, and the market does not want it. They're like, we don't need that. So competition in a space says that there is market demand. There is need for what you have. So this evening, I want us to see competition very, very differently. Competition shows there is a real problem, there are customers who are willing to pay, and opportunity exists. So that's the one thing you need to remember about your competition. It confirms demand. Number two, competition shows what's working. So what you must do then is put emotions aside for a bit and listen to the tone, the messaging tone of your competition. All right. Look at their pricing structure. How different are your prices? Look at the package they're offering. All right. Look how they package that offer. What is the visibility strategy? How do they engage customers? What you're looking for is market signals, not necessarily to copy, but to say our market responds in this way. Usually, what happens when you're not meeting a need, your market they just walk away. They don't even give you notice that, yeah, we are going. They just walk. I'll give another example. Wi-Fi suppliers in my hood, they are usually three. There were three big ones, no, two big ones, and then there was one local small one. The local one was their tagline was local customer service without too much traffic. What we later discovered is they were buying bandwidth from one of the major telcos and then subdividing. When people were few, their speed was faster. As people have gotten onto it, their speed has gone down. And people started migrating back to the big two. And then of the big two, one would tell you at 10 Mbps, but when you tested your speeds, you were at 4.5, 5. The other one was very steady. So we all migrated to the major one. What is that telling you? It's telling you what your market values, what they will sign up for, and what will keep them using your brand. So competition shows what's working. So you look at the tone of their messaging, the structure of their messages, how they're pricing, what they package, visibility strategy, customer engagement, packaging size, consistency of communication, what they're putting out. Remember, we said your competition can be a great source of market intelligence. Now, you may not always be able to get into their inner strategies, but you will definitely be able to see what they deploy internally, and that gives you a bird's eye view. Number three, competition reveals the market gaps. Look at reviews and complaints. Look at what people wish you did for them. Look at friction points in service and delivery. Look at a speed of delivery. Is it slow? Is it fast? Is it somewhere in the middle? Are people happy with that or do they want more? Look at the messaging. If it's confusing and you're seeing it's not converting, how do you shift so that you don't do the same thing? But it also shows underserved segments. When you go and look at reviews and complaints, you can see things people are wishing they had, adjustments they're looking for. So you find where your competitors are weak and see if that can become a strong point for you. You see where they're generic and you become more specific because they're looking at you and seeing where you're generic and finding ways to be more specific. Those gaps offer an opportunity for differentiation. We are not trying to be louder, we're looking to be clearer because people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. Three key things. So if you're not on that radar of know, like, and trust, then kuna venye, all right? So your competition reveals the market gaps. And finally, competition sharpens your USP. After you have done all this research, you've reviewed what gaps are showing, you've reviewed their processes, your question that you must answer in the face of competition is why you? Why would somebody buy your product or your service, come to your webinar, visit your establishment? Why you and not others? What that question helps you do is it helps you strengthen your positioning because your task is to clarify your angle because you cannot fully eliminate competition. And what happens when you've got no competition, you're either a monopoly, so your service becomes sloppy, or there isn't enough market for what you're doing. Sometimes when you find there are too many players, everything is saturated, you're trying to do the same product, that becomes the key for you to figure what else or how else. I'll give another example. We have a lot of car washes in our area, very, very many, and many are just car wash. Then there's one that came up as a high-end executive car service. How they built out their structure, the vendors that they are invited into the space, how they secured their location, their canopy, their treatment, even the kind of guys they hired was affected by their positioning. So now when you pass there, there is a certain caliber of cars that goes there. Whereas most car washes also add carpet cleaning, they didn't quite add carpet cleaning. Let me give another example. We have almost every car wash, and they're in a stretch of 5 kilometers, I think they're like 6 or 7. But then there's somebody who set up another executive car wash with executive carpet cleaning. In that particular establishment, your carpet is not dried outside. They have, the way your washing machine has a dryer, a spin dryer. They have this really long spin tunnels that they will wash your carpet and then they'll spin it dry. So it's dry, faster, better, without the musty smell. You see what they've done? It's a car and carpet service. So the high-end cars are between these two locations, but one has added spin dry for your carpet. Oh, and they'll pick and they'll deliver back to you. So what they're doing is asking themselves the critical question of why us? And how will we draw people and keep people? Another example, in our area, we have salty water because we are built on limestone. So our water filters through limestone, so it has a salty taste. So a lot of us in the area, okay, we harvest rainwater, but a lot of people buy bottled water. And it used to be really expensive. 20 liter of water used to be, I think, 350, 400 shillings. And then somebody out of the blue came and said, 5 shillings a liter. And they were like, what? How are you doing 5 shillings a liter? So then the price came down drastically. Now, for those who had not done their math right, they went out of business because the price has dropped drastically. Okay. So what has happened? Somebody has come and said, how will I make more money? And they've eliminated everybody else on a price point. You cannot always compete on price, but you can always compete on service, standards, quality, messaging, all those things. So what competition does for you is once you have done all the assessments, seen the gaps, confirmed that there's a market, you come and you sharpen your USP. You sharpen the reason people come to you. You sharpen your angle. So when you look at it like that, competition isn't a bad thing. Competition is actually quite useful. It is a data source. It has data points. So here's a practical example. All of us, whether we're working or we're in business, let's think about it like this. Who are your top 3 competitors? List them, your top 3 competitors. All right? Who are your top 3 competitors? Make a note of that. Who are your top 3 competitors? And then answer the following questions. What do they do well? Where are their customers dissatisfied? What is their clear positioning, if they have it? And what is not being said in their messaging? All right. So you think through them like that. What do they do well? So, for instance, back to my water story. What did they do well? They gave us a good price. The water filtration systems were the same. Okay. Where were customers dissatisfied from the previous guy's cost? All right. What is their clear positioning? That particular company they were clear about how effective, how cost effective they were, and they were able to turn around quickly, and they had free delivery. So three things. I don't have to leave my house anymore. A lot of the others, you either had to get a rider to bring to you, or you had to leave and go and take. And there was a place where they would say, if you're filling 3 bottles or more, we shall deliver for free. Yeah, my family is small. I'm feeling one. Okay. So of course, those guys, I couldn't go to them, but these guys had free delivery. So all I did was call. And because it was, then they'd ask you, is it the Aquamist, the heavy, or the disposables? So if it's the disposable bottles, they'll pick and they'll go. If it was the more, they're those heavy duty bottles, the Aquamist, the Keringet, those ones. Then they had some heavy duty bottles. So they'd fill and bring an exchange with you. All right. So then the next question, after you've identified what they do well, you've thought about where the customers are satisfied, what their clear positioning is, what is not being said. After you've identified that, then you ask yourself, where is my distinct difference? What differentiates me from them? And it's about refining what you're delivering. It's not about rivalry. Because remember, we said our competition is an amazing source of data. I remember how when I was in the event industry, you hear there's a wedding in X and X place or a conference in X and X place. We would buy tickets and we would go just to see what our competition is doing. And sometimes you would encounter such a seamless experience. You will now go back to the office, back to the drawing board, and reorganize your services. Sometimes, and I eventually I realized it, but people would come to our events to see how we run them. Why are you doing that? Because you want to know what's happening in the industry. So I'd go for paid conferences. To date, I still go for people's trainings. I do trainings every Wednesday, but I've also realized I don't know everything. So I go to other people's spaces to learn. I really go there to learn. You see, when you're able to effectively assess what they're doing, what they're not doing, how they're doing it, how they're not doing, where's the gap, you come back and use that to craft your differentiator because you are refining. And why do I say that? Look at what's it? I'm thinking about bath soaps. How many brands are there? Look at the antibacterial line and how many brands are there. And I'm still seeing new brands trying to enter the market. Look at cooking oil. How many brands are there? There are many at varying price points, and each of them has a market. So what do? Look at rice. Oh my goodness, the number of brands of rice we have. Look at lotions. So it's not that your product is not useful, but how do you differentiate your product? I was looking at a brand of lotion this recently, and how their bottle opens is so cool. And the shape of their bottle, I mean, I was really fascinated. These guys when they started producing, they were only doing petroleum jelly. Now they have petroleum jelly, they have amazing lotion. I'm told it's really amazing. And they also have, if I'm not wrong, they may have a powder or something like that. What are they doing? They're looking at how to differentiate themselves and they're watching other lotions, they're watching other petroleum jellies. There was a time where petroleum jelly was only natural. Now we have, I don't know, rose scented, we have cocoa butter, we have aloe vera, we have all these things. And it is one brand that started experimenting and realized, Allah, you mean we can do it with other things? So everybody else started experimenting. So your competition should be one of your greatest data sources. So what is the radical shift we need to make? You need to shift your thinking because weak businesses compare, copy, complain. Stronger businesses observe analyze, and differentiate. I repeat, weak businesses compare, copy, and complain. We say, oh, they're just, we're not, we're, why are we complaining? The market is big enough. If you look at even the toothpaste industry, there was a time where we only had mint toothpaste. Now we even have charcoal, we have clove, we have salt and lime, then we have the usual one. So if you want herbal, there's a whole different line. And there's some people who have all major brands have just one herbal. However, the herbal brands have so many things in them. You're like, yeah, thank you, Mercy. You're like, what? What have they done? They have observed, and then of the information they have discovered, they have analyzed and found a gap or a differentiator or a thing, a knob. If they turn, they will be significantly different. So then they have gone on to differentiation. So that's what your competition should do for you. It should make you differentiate because you want to turn it into a diagnostic tool. Remember, I said your competition is one of your greatest data sources. It gives you data, you analyze, you shift. Let me make you laugh. There's a hospital we go to, and even in there, we know which doctors we like. So we know when to go to hospital because those doctors are on duty those days. What is the difference? The bedside manner. But if I go and I find a certain nurse, I know I'm fine because the nurse will push the doctor who's there to do what needs to be done. Competition. Even these doctors are there, kind of in competition. So every place you are, understand you can collect data, but data is for diagnosis and differentiation. You don't just collect data to say, oh, Nina. Collect data and use the data to shift something. All right? So data becomes your differentiator. So let's shift our thinking. The real enemy is not competition. It's confusion. When you don't know what's out there, confusion about who you serve, why you serve them, how you serve them, why they pick you and not somebody else. Confusion about the definition, clear definition of your customer. If you have missed this month because we've been doing decoding the market, go to the African MSME Collective YouTube channel. We have put up everything there. We talked about mapping your market. We talked about niche clarity. Last week, we talked about crafting your avatar. Today, we're just saying understand your competition because it helps you clear all this confusion that keeps you bound. Because clarity builds an advantage. Clarity differentiates you. Clarity tells you who you're serving and who you're not. Remember, we also said that it is easier to upsell an existing customer than to gain a new customer. It is cheaper to do that. So when you're looking at all this, the real enemy is a lack of clarity, not your competition. Because if you're studying your competition, and in studying your competition, you'll also be studying your customers' preferences, you gain clarity and information. So, do we have any questions up to there before we begin to land this plane? Do we have questions? Your competition is your greatest data source, and the information you gather from it turns into a diagnostic tool. Do we have any questions? Or are we okay? So let me just excellent. I can see. Okay, so let me just speak to one thing. Many of us have a lot of multi-level marketing products around us. That differentiator is the same. An MLM, let me talk about all the health ones that exist. You are looking to get the same set of clients who are looking to live healthy. So your differentiator becomes how well you answer to that need. When you fully map your market and you have evidence of how people are changing, look at the strategies that the other MLMs around you are using, what differentiates them, what puts them ahead in your industry. It's the same evaluation. The only differentiator is in MLMs, you benefit from your downlines. So have you trained the people who are working under you, which for us is our staff teams? Have we trained our people to go through the same set of steps and evaluations so that they understand the market as well as we do and can see all these flags, red, green, yellow, blue, purple, as they come up? All right. It is the same. All you're selling a product. All right. So if I'm selling a service and you're selling our product, our tactics will be slightly different. However, the core of it remains. Who else is in the space? How well do they speak to the market needs? Is their messaging clear? What about their messaging is clearer than ours? Or where is ours clearer than theirs? What is their conversion rate? You're looking at the activities they put out that convert people to them. The same applies to services like coaching, mentorship, training, because why would you pick me over Mercy? Why would you pick me over Onika? It comes down to the value I deliver back to you. Is it that it is in the workbooks we give? Do we customize? Do we use local examples? Are we pushing people into realistic and relatable places? Or are we making their lives a lot more difficult? So your differentiator is understanding the exact need of your customers and your niche, and then meeting that need completely. All right? So when we have done all that, one of the things we must now do is review. When we came into this space and we looked at our customers, what is it that they said about us? What need did we meet? What need didn't we meet? Our competitors, what heads up do they have over us? All right. So here's another reflection for you. Given what we have learned, given what we have had today, is it really true that your competition is affecting your operations, or is it that you are unclear about your positioning, your customer, your differentiation, your value articulation? And if your competition disappeared tomorrow, based on the question above, if your compare disappeared tomorrow, would you improve your clarity or would confusion remain? Because that's your differentiator. Are you clear about your positioning, your customer differentiation, and value articulation? Or is your competition really at play? Because if those things are not clear, it doesn't matter how well you market. You will not be seen where you need to be seen. You will not be heard the way you need to be heard. You will not be accepted because your differentiation is unclear. So before we go out and say, the competition is giving us a run for our money, look inside. It could be that hapo ndani, inside the tent, inside there, is where everything has gone wrong. It could be right inside. Why do I say that? Because I've experienced it. We've been sitting there saying, oh, there's no work. People are not, and then my compare is getting whack. But when I reviewed, I was not speaking to my market. Why wasn't I speaking to my market? I was tired. I was doing everything alone. So I closed that business. But when I restarted with a partner. Why has a partner helped us? Diverse viewpoints. So we see more, we see further. And then my blind spots are covered. His blind spots are covered. And then we've added a team. So now the team can tell us, here we're doing well, there we're not doing well. What are we doing by adding the number of core people is we're reducing blind spots. We're able to say, if our competition was disappeared tomorrow, we would still be where we are because of 1, 2, 3. Or we will get a larger market share because of 1, 2, 3. So when you understand that understanding your competition can really become your superpower, then you understand that competition is more data than danger. It's data, it's information. That clarity is your real competitive advantage, and it's clarity around your market, your niche, your customer, and your delivery system. It's clarity around that. And that you understand that you differentiate through precision, not noise. There is a measure of differentiation you can achieve with noise, but sometimes it's not sustainable because you're making all this noise. Then people come and experience your brand. They're like, where? No, they go back to where they came from, right? And finally, we can use our competition to refine, not redefine, refine. What's working, what's not working? How do we shift it? How do we change it? Do we adapt the whole product line? Do we tweak something? Is it that our competitors are close to the market than us? How do we shorten the gap? I remember one of my mentees was doing a milking jelly. They still make the milking jelly. And they found that the competition was very, very, very high in Nairobi specifically. So when they did their market research, they found that their home village, their home area was struggling a lot more with that. So you know what they did? They first released it in their home area. When they launched, they had this really cool African feel brand. They were told you need to make it look as close as possible to the main brand, to the market leading brand. So they did that. They went and they, changed the color from brown to green and, all those things you can do. That small tweak in their brand and the small tweak in how they trained the shopkeepers to talk about their brand shifted their sales completely. But if they were not looking, watching, and listening, there would be a problem. So our competition gives us the data that allows us to clarify and discover a new competitive advantage. And then we differentiate very precisely. And then we keep refining as we go along. The refining process is consistent, everyday, continuous. So that's a new way I want you to look at your competition as a source of data and as a diagnostic tool. When you see them that way, what actually happens is that you understand that competition clarifies your level of responsibility, and your responsibility is to be clearer, not louder. There's a typo there. Your responsibility is to be clearer, not louder. When you are clear, you can actually whisper and be heard. Because if I'm your desired customer, you know where I am, you know what I look at, you know how often I buy, you know when I'm online, you know which other marketing tools will reach me, and you know what makes me pull out my phone and pay by M-Pesa. So then you come and tell me, pay cash, you've lost me because I'm an M-Pesa client. One of the things we have ended up doing with our business is we have found a platform that receives money in multiple currencies. So when you go to the platform, whether you're in the US, it's in dollars. Even if you're Kenyan and you're in the US, you pay in dollars because of your locality. If you're in Nigeria, in Ghana, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, wherever it is you're across Africa, and when you go continental, then they change it to dollars and pounds. What has that done for us? It has eased our ability to do business. It allows our clients from all over. We're running a course, Women in Digital Business, how to build your own digital business successfully and with impact. And we have participants from Uganda. They pay in Uganda shillings from the comfort of their phone. Our Kenyan participants pay in Kenya shillings. Our Ghanaian participants pay in Ghanaian cedis. Why? The platform we chose to use has that ease. It's absolutely easy. It's absolutely convenient. Why is that important to be clearer, not louder? Because clarity builds sustainable growth. So if you're looking at building business, the thing we would like you to remember is that You have to come from a place, or you need to come from a place of clarity. And you find clarity in all your respective places. So competition is an absolutely amazing mirror that you can make use of. So I hope today you will go home remembering, "Kumbe, my compare can be a blessing to me." I hope that now that this session is at the end, you will understand that your competition is an amazing, 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 not just source of data, but also a source of diagnosis. So, does anybody have a reflection? What is one thing you are taking home with you today? Julia, be on standby. I will also ask you to answer the same question, but let's see who put something in the chat first. What is one thing you are taking home today? I see it has provided great clarity for you. Please share the clarity it has given you around what? Anybody who wants to unmute? Julia, you're on the spot for that, so you could start the sharing if you are actually able to unmute. I hope you are.
Oh, yes, I am. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Wait, okay. I think for me, my take home, it has come mainly while you were concluding on it's better to be clear than to be louder. Like,
Yes.
when let whatever you're saying be let us know what you're really saying, not only hear what you're saying, or rather what you're communicating, and also the role of the competitors. It's not for us. They're not meant to, mainly as much as we see them as a challenge, you can also take that, we can also see them as a point of information or data, how we are going to, let's not compare and complain and copy, but we can grow from what they have to make us better. That's my take home. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. It's about clarity, not volume. Excellent. Thank you. Someone else who wants to share what has stood out for you today as we move to beyond today? I'm going to change how I view my competitor. Instead, I can learn from what they're doing. Excellent. I like that. Fantastic. One of the biggest things you can do for yourself is flip your mindset, where it is, yes, Daktari, I have seen your mic go on.
Yes, I was just going to say, just in terms of looking at competition, not as look at them as an opportunity for me to define and work with who I am, my different gifting and my abilities, and just knowing we're different. We're serving different markets. Yeah.
I like that.
And it's fine.
And I know because you're a transition coach, that speaks to you, to helping your clients actually find what sets them apart. So the clarity that we are not identical, therefore we serve differently, should be a complete game changer. In fact, you will hear it when I teach and when Joe teaches. We're very different, but we're very complementary. And that's what brings us and keeps us together in the business, because we complement. So imagine when we are always looking for other people in the coaching and the training segment to partner with, because there is enough work for all of us. One of the biggest things that this conversation, I hope, should do for you is move you from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. There is more than enough for all of us. We just need to figure out where we fit, how we fit, and find our paying customer. Excellent. So as we go forward, we have a couple of things. We love feedback. So if you could send us feedback, that would be absolutely amazing. The link for feedback will be dropped in the chat section just now. And why do we do feedback? We do feedback because it helps us curate the programs that we do. And we are running a couple of programs which we will be talking about just now. Thank you. I can see the feedback form has been dropped. Asante sana. So we also are building the community. Many of us I can see who are on this call are in the community. The circle is a place where we share opportunities. We are expanding it. Starting April, we shall be doing market days. I think, yeah, starting April, we shall have market days in the community. We shall have discounts to different programs that we're running. We already do it. We offer opportunities to different events. We get access into events, and we very often have either subsidized rates or some complimentary tickets. So feel free to join us at the circle. And the circle is our WhatsApp community. So when you come into there, you come and you learn, you grow, you share, and we are also able to share opportunities with you. So that is the link to the circle. Feel free to join the circle. Now, this one I want to talk about. We are currently, it's starting tomorrow morning. Actually, we are running a course that we call Build Your Digital Business. Now, many of us have thought that this is about building a separate business. No, 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 no. It's taking your existing business and making it digital. So it runs for 12 weeks. In the 12 weeks, we're running it in partnership with Gloria's Hand Skills Training Center in Uganda, Akiko Stories, and African MSME Collective. It's a joint effort. Starting tomorrow morning, we run every Wednesday, 8 to 10 a.m. And there's a lot of talk. You will just show how to get online. No, 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 no. We will be customizing it with additional information. We'll be talking about the different platforms, where the best place to position is. We'll talk about e-commerce. We'll talk about websites and landing pages, so that you have a comprehensive view of what it means to have a fully digital business, as well as how do you digitize and digitalize your business. So we'll also be talking about tools that will help you run your back end, admin tools that you can use. Because in the space that we are, what we want to do is be able to help a lot more people stabilize. So it's built off the ITC, International Training Center, the Women in Digital Business, but it is open for both men and women. We are doing it in partnership because we want to go further. We reach further when we are more. So we kick off tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Please, if you are interested, just click on the link. You will be able to sign up, and then you will be able to get into class. Why is that valuable? When you see all the stuff we're doing at AMC and on our respective platforms, we have benefited from this course. Joe and I did it at different times, and then we came and we applied it, and it has really helped us not only think about our business, it has helped us individually build our own brand. So this is the link. Is the link. So we look forward to seeing you in that particular class. It will run for 12 weeks. We will have so much fun learning, and we will see so much growth, because we will be applying. This one is application as we go, no theory. The other thing we shall be running shortly, we have changed the timelines for starting. We have a course called Biashara Basics. And in this course, we will be helping you figure out how to start your business. However, the thing we are going to do different is it is 8 sessions over a period of, it will be a self-paced class. So you will decide how long you want, how fast you want to do it. After you do the 4th session, then you will be able to have one coaching session. Yes, we'll also put we'll put the links in the WhatsApp group chat. So you'll have after session 4, you have a half-hour coaching session with myself or Joe. After session 8, we'll have a 1-hour clarity session, so that you leave with practical tools. What we are doing in 2026 is giving you practical tools, things that you can put to work today that begin to help you have a clear way of going forward. So we're living with roadmaps. For your digital business, you'll have a roadmap. By the time you're done, you will have existing platforms. We'll be doing evaluations on your existing platforms if they're there. If you don't have any, we'll be helping you start up and have a clear plan that you can execute over the next 90 days. We will throw in one 20-minute coaching session for anybody who does the Build Your Digital Business course or Women in Digital Business, just to ensure that you are clear about where you're going, that your plan makes sense, and then you can come back to us later for an evaluation. Why is this important? We've all had the statistics of online spaces. We've had the statistics of small businesses. 75% die in the first 3 years. They say 5 years, it's actually in the first 3 years. So we like to give tools that are practical that you can use for them. One other thing, even if you're not building a digital business, this can help you build your own personal online brand. So don't be limited to it says digital business. You are your own business. And finally, I'd like to thank our team. Today, this is how you know we're a team. Today, Joe is away representing us at a partners event. So he's not here, but of course, in the back end, we have T-Bags, we have Julia, we have Kwe, we have Wamboy and Mimo, who really keep us on track, and Madam Felicity, who comes and, those forms you fill to tell us what you want us to do, those ones. She comes and makes sure we implement all those ones. And then we've got a couple of different partnerships that give us different things. Through Thai events, we do have a summit coming up in April, I believe it is. So please watch all our socials. We'll be sending links. We have discounts existing. We shall be sharing the discounted links. There are a few benefits you can get if you pay now. There's a discount for that. As well as we have 2 products we have enabled. So Biashara Basics is a smaller version of Enabled. Enabled is a longer module. You can run it over a year that helps you from ideation to implementation. Biashara Basics, we have pulled out a part of it. Sprout and Scale is what we do with teenagers and how they start businesses. And then, of course, we have a couple of shows. We have a fantastic YouTube channel where we have the AFCFT files, and the Growth Edge, and now QSS. All these sessions that we do on Tuesdays are now going to be resident on our YouTube channel. So just go across to YouTube, African MSME Collective, and you'll find all the sessions. We are in the process of uploading all previous sessions of last year. So give us a couple of weeks, they should all be up. But currently, I think we have most of December and November up. Why is that important? We want you to be able to find this information and then come to us to help you apply it practically. So once again, it's been an amazing Tuesday. We're grateful that you've come and you've sat with us. You've stayed with us from start to finish, and we pray that the Lord will bless you, keep you, make his face shine upon you, and give you peace. And that at the end of the day, you will be known for being game changers in your industry, whether it is at work, whether it's in your small business on the side that you're building. I don't like the word hustle, so I don't call businesses hustles. Whatever it is you are doing, may the Lord increase you and expand your capacity to become everything he ever dreamed that you would be. Thank you, everybody. We shall see you next week, Tuesday. Have a fantastic, fantastic evening.